Welcome everyone to a new episode of Incognito, where we talk about the darkest secret, the intimacy killer, and the way to freedom. Today is a very special episode because we have a very special guest, Father Tadros Hirmina from St. Peter's Seal of the Martyrs Coptic Orthodox Church, West Palm Beach, Florida. Welcome, Abouna. Thank you for coming today.
My pleasure, always to be with you.
We're really looking forward to having a discussion today about more the psychological part of pornographic addiction. In our previous episodes, we talked more about the spiritual sides. We talked more about the brain and the effects of the brain. It was really more scientific and even sometimes a little bit of medical facts that we researched and presented to our audiences. And today we want to see what happens psychologically. So how maybe we view porn, how we define it, how we can help others, and maybe what are signs of for someone to know and to evaluate themselves that they have this addiction. To start off, let me ask you this question. What is the definition of pornography?
Okay, concerning the psychological effect of porn, let's introduce it from this perspective. What's the pornography addiction? It is simply the condition where an individual shows manifestations of overusing or abusing pornography. Overusing or abusing pornography. It's a condition that can fall under the category of impulse control disorder. It can be categorized under this impulse control disorder. And it is considered the psychological addiction because part of it plays with the brain, as definitely you talk about this before in previous episodes.
So a psychological addiction can also affect our behaviors. So
definitely, and that's why the pornography addiction, we can talk about that later on, like during this episode, about the behavioral attitude of people who are having this kind of addiction specifically.
Yeah. When we think of addictive things, we usually refer to drugs or alcohol. We think of maybe something that we like to do, like watching a specific thing or, addicting to some sort of physical substance. But actually, this is considered one of the most addictive substances that we have, or that it exists. So why is it considered like that? One of the most addictive substances.
Let me tell you something before answering this. When you mentioned any kind of other addiction, like alcoholic addiction or drugs or anything like that, like people do a lot of effort to have it, right? Why pornography addiction is one of the most addictive substance? Because of something called 3 A's: accessible, affordable, and anonymous. It is accessible to everyone, especially through the social media and the internet and everything. Affordable to the point that majority of the sites are free.
Very affordable.
To that point, it is affordable. And anonymous, especially over the phones right now, because it is highly protected. So anyone can watch porn over the phone, and once deleted the site, no one ever can detect that you were watching that.
Right.
So even if anyone have the phone after you, no one can detect it. So because of those 3 A's, the accessible, affordable, and anonymous, it is considered one of the worst addiction because it is hidden.
Right.
Yeah, and it is very easy to start it, very easy to hide it.
Would you say it's one of the easiest things to get addicted to?
Definitely. And that's why it is considered one of the most addictive. Maybe later on we can talk about like some statistics related, and you will figure out it is really like impressive.
Right. But if I would be addicted on مثلا drugs, I would have to spend a lot of money.
Exactly.
I would have to sacrifice a lot of things to attain this thing.
Exactly.
But with pornography,
no.
I don't really have to sacrifice anything. Maybe some time.
If you noticed, exactly as you mentioned, anything would consider a lot of money.
Right.
Like gambling, a lot of money.
Yes.
Right? Drugs, alcohol, even not money. Even like you are going to like sacrifice a place to go to and time. But when it comes to pornography, you can be just in bed, in your room, with anyone, just on your phone.
Right.
In a car, in anywhere.
And no one will ever know.
If you decided that nobody will know, nobody will know.
Right.
But anyone easy to detect anything else because of the symptoms.
The visible behaviors.
And the physical symptoms, like people who are on drugs, you can detect it easily
Right.
from
Okay.
the
I know what you mean.
eyes, from the face,
Right.
alcohol, from the just smelling them.
They're jittery.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
Or stuff like that. Gambling, you can detect it by the huge loss of money in whatever salary or whatever, and the amount of time spent outside the house because they can't gamble over the phone.
Right.
They have to go to certain places.
Mm-hmm.
But with porn addiction, very easy to start, very, very easy to hide it.
So what are some signs of this addiction? Some visible signs of this addiction?
Number one, secretive actions. The sleep pattern, usually for people who are watching porn, has some sort of alteration. And this is for a reason. Because simply the right way to sleep is what? Shut off your phone and to like relax, to avoid any screen, watching any screen, even TV. You should be not watching or something for like some good time before sleeping so you can relax your brain. So if you started watching stuff like that, you are actually exciting your brain and your body, because the excitation will be for the brain and for the body, which will never help you to sleep. Never. And that's why people who watch porn stay long for sleeping, and they usually sleep out of being really tired, like they can't open their eyes. But when they sleep, their brain is already not relaxed at all.
Right.
And that's why they have this is a big problem, the sleeping pattern. You find that the sleeping pattern will change. And the people who reach to that level, usually they watch porn right before sleeping, because it is the most hidden time of the day.
Oh, you're alone.
Alone, nobody with you, just by yourself, in bed, and everyone thinking that this person is sleeping.
Right.
And one more thing, that because it is addictive, so you can see like people like watch a couple of minutes, but with watching before sleeping, it can end up with an hour. Imagine that your brain is excited and your body is excited for an hour continuously. How can you sleep easily? And even if you sleep, and this is one of the worst things, you sleep. It end up you sleep because you are tired. When you woke up, very tired, very exhausted, as if you were in like a fight, because you were not relaxed. That's not the right way that we were created to sleep, that we were not. This is one of the main symptoms. Another symptom, which is the family issues, or you can say family neglect. I don't want to stay with people because I would prefer to stay by myself. Why? Because I'm not by myself. I'm watching something different. One of the symptoms as well and the signs is the guilt feeling. People who watch it feel guilt, but they can't stop.
They feel guilty because it's bad?
It is bad, but I can't stop anymore. It's done. Because they reach to some point that watching that stuff is not bringing them that pleasure as in the beginning. Like when people start that kind of addiction, it's full of pleasure. After that, the pleasure is not the same unless it is very long time, and they start to search for specific actions, because the normal actions are not bringing any pleasure as before. That's why it's addiction. They need more. And that's why it calls family neglect, because I want to spend more time.
I'm trying to look for specific things.
Exactly. One of the things that they noticed about this, that it brings anger and irritability, which is normal for any screen addiction. Gambling as well bring the same exact symptom, by the way. When you are sitting in front of a screen, it makes you angry. For what reason? It had a psychological interpretation. when you are in front of a screen, you order the screen. The screen do anything you want. Anything you want.
Wow.
When you start to communicate with people, people are not going to do what you want. People are going to talk to you, and most of the time we have different opinions. You will not be able to function.
Opposite of this, what the screen.
Exactly. The screen is following your instructions, and they will never say no.
Right.
But people can say no, can give you another opinion, can give you something else. That's why it causes some sort of anger and irritability, and to some extent related to the family and friend neglect. Because right now you know what? It's not worthy to talk to you. It's worthy to talk to this screen, whatever I'm going to see in the screen. And that's why it is not recommended to stay in front of TV or screen or gambling or porn for a long time, because spending the time on that will prevent you from the normal behavior communication, which is one of the main things. And that's why people like that are very irritable and showing some anger issues. Definitely the secretive actions, which is, I don't want people to see my phone. I don't want anyone to check on me. I don't want, like, whenever someone like coming approached you, you close the phone right away, and like in an action which is weird.
Right.
Like people say, why you turn it right like that? Oh, because I was checking what's it?
Right. Or for example, if you're sitting in your room closed, you want everybody to knock.
Exactly.
If you don't knock, there's a problem.
Why? Why this kind of privacy definitely is good, but
Yes.
I mean, now it is not because of privacy.
Well, you've become irritable and angry over simple like knocking.
Which is nothing. It can be handled in another way,
you
but
can
no,
just-
I can't handle it that way.
Right. Right. That's very interesting. The way you said that is like the screen follows your exact instruction.
Exactly.
It never says no to you.
Yeah.
No matter what the screen is, but specifically pornography.
Exactly.
Whatever you want to see, you'll
you
search
will.
it and you'll find it.
And you can stop it at any point. You can run it. You can increase. You can raise the voice.
Right.
No one is saying you no. And if
Right.
you don't like it, switch it off. Turn
Right.
to something else.
Go look for another video.
Why I'm going to talk to people who can, like, say who can say no to me,
Right.
Like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
why.
I'm not gonna waste my time with you. I could just
Exactly.
yeah. So you said earlier there's statistics for this that
Yes.
are mind blowing. So what do you think? What is that about?
I'm going only to give you 4 statistics.
Okay.
Okay.
That's all I can handle right now.
But those 4 are really destructive.
Okay.
70% of men age 18 years old and up, and they didn't put a limit.
Right.
18 years and up visit pornography website in a typical month. 70%.
That's a lot. 70% is a big number.
Very.
47%
of the families in the United States of America have one or more member having pornography issues. 47% just means 50%. Imagine 50% of the families in the United States of America having one of the members or more who is having a pornography issue. Imagine.
Right. 1 out of 2 homes.
1 out of 2 homes.
Roughly.
One or more than.
You're right.
One member or more
Right.
having pornography issue. This survey is the one I'm going to say it right now. It is conducted in 2008.
Okay.
Okay? So if the numbers which I'm going to say right now in 2008, imagine what's in 2020.
2020.
After the pandemic.
Right.
And people staying home, okay?
Okay.
Because they don't have a recent one from this, okay? They said that 87% of young men and more than 35%, which we can say 36% of women report using pornography. So it's not only male.
87%.
87% male, 35% female, like admitted watching pornography. Not addictive, but watching porn. You are talking about almost the whole society.
Right.
Right? So now, according to this, that means the minority are not watching,
Right.
not the majority. So that's why it is one of the most addictive. But I'm not saying addictive, porn addiction, no, but watch porn. But again, we mentioned it's easy to start, easy to hide, and definitely you can reach to the addiction, which is the abuse or the overuse, as you mentioned in the beginning.
Right.
Very easy. The last one, it's an impressive one. Really impressive, yeah. I just wanna ask you, so just guess.
Okay.
What's the first age to start watch porn?
So the youngest.
The youngest to start it.
Is this statistics today, 2020, or before?
This is right, like actually 2019.
20. Okay, so this is now. Okay, I would guess
The earliest, the youngest to start.
6, 7 years old.
No, it is not 6, 7 years old. No, it is not.
Is it higher or lower?
It is higher.
Okay, thank
Thank
God.
God. Thank God it is higher. Thank God.
Maybe it's now 2020 if we do it again. 14.
11. 11 years old, they can start watching.
That's considered elementary school.
Imagine elementary school. It is
Wow.
considered right now one of those, especially with having full access to the internet and the phones.
I'm saying now it's more accessible. Everybody has an iPad or a phone or
Everyone.
something.
Everyone.
Uh-huh.
And that's why I'm saying this is 2019. So it started by 11 years old. That is the latest statistic. 11 years old, average age to start watch porn. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it is wow. Yes, it's true.
Yeah. That is very it's disturbing. And I think we do live in a society that promotes it. So you can't hide from it even if you want to. You have to filter yourself in order for you to say I don't want to watch this.
Yeah, because it's very hard. Let me tell you something. It's not like, you can consider it statistics, but it is something like, think about it, like,
Okay.
the search engine, right? Search engine on the emails, like the websites, and 25% of the search engine worldwide is porn. This is a lot.
Well, a quarter of the world is researching pornography.
Exactly. Of the world.
So we're talking about 8 billion people.
Minimum.
Minimum.
Imagine.
Right.
And this is per day. 25% of the search engine per day is like that. 8% of the emails, let's say 10% of the emails, in general, emails are porn related.
Wow.
Okay, so just this to know how people use it. We are not talking about going to websites. We are talking about search engine and emails.
Wow,
Like
yeah.
people won't go to Google for that.
Right.
Yeah.
So how did we get to this point? So you're saying these shocking statistics. They're very disappointing and it's very sad. I know we said impressive as a joke, but it's very sad.
Yeah.
We obviously got to some point. So we went through stages.
Yeah.
We went through one and then it got worse and worse and worse. And
Yes,
now it's become a
sure.
worldwide thing.
Sure.
So what are these stages?
So the stages of pornography are actually 5 stages.
Okay.
Okay, so there is something called early exposure, addiction, escalation, desensitization, acting out. Again, so early exposure, addiction, escalation, desensitization, acting out.
Mm-hmm.
What are they? Early exposure, which is simply not even movies or clips, video clip. No, maybe just pictures and very sporadic. So here is the thing, that this early exposure comes from what? From TV. TV movies, which is on TV. I'm not saying that you search engine or like you write. No. Just pictures. Pictures on the internet, Facebook, which popping up, advertisement on TV, on the screen, big screen, in everywhere, okay? This is called early exposure. So people are exposed to some sort of porn, even if it is like the ad they said, like in the movies, it is from the dramatic scenario. Because of the scenario, it needs to be there. At the end of the day, it's porn. Your mind is not going to differentiate, oh, yeah, you know what? This is very acceptable right now to see it because, it's within the movie.
Right.
You are not going...
Is this what society calls quote-unquote sex sells?
100%.
Okay.
That's 100%. That's the early exposure.
Right.
Without seeing a movie, without seeing anything.
It's unintentional. You will get it either way.
Anywhere. You are in your car and you can see it. You are in
billboard or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or someone sends me something. يعني كذا.
Sometimes actually people send you something not even related.
Right.
But once they send it, there is an advertisement coming up with it.
Right.
Even if you are going to close it, you already saw. So this is the early exposure.
Right.
At this point, there is no addiction. Then we move to the next step, which is addiction, which is what here means of addiction is I want to see more. I want to see these pictures moving. I don't want a picture. I want a movie, maybe video clip, maybe a couple of minutes. Here, at this level, we can say you are on the first step of addiction. The early exposure is the door, the open door to porn. Addiction comes right after it. Here, you are going to search for it, search engines. You are going to check websites. Oh, I want to spend more time watching. And then escalation, which is you started by watching it maybe 2-3 times a week. Then, you know what? Escalation. Let's make it daily. Escalation. I watch 2-3 minutes. No, that's not enough. At least 10 minutes per time. 1 time per day is not enough. Let's make it 2. Escalation. Then desensitization, which is simply watching anything is not affecting you. I want something abnormal.
I'm now numb.
I'm numb. You know, watching this not even bringing me like any kind of pleasure.
Right.
So let's extend the time. Oh, extending the time. You already extended the time. That's the escalation. You reach it to the point of desensitization, which simply was this. No, I want something aggressive.
Right.
And here people start by porn watching stuff which is like abnormal.
Aggressive.
And
violent.
Abnormal sexual treatment. Why? Because I want to see something different.
Right. All right. Yeah.
And then they start to see a lot of other things like groups, not only one-to-one. Why? Why that I reach to another level? You know what? This normal stuff is not exciting me anymore. Desensitization. Once people reach to desensitization, that's the worst part because the last stage is acting out, which is simply, I don't want to watch, I want to act. And that's the first step of sex addiction. And that's why porn addiction and sex definitely are related together.
They go hand in hand because they lead to each other, or one leads to the other.
100%.
So the more I'm desensitized, the more I escalate.
The more you act out.
The more I act out?
Yeah. The more escalation, the fastest the desensitization.
Okay.
The more escalation, the fastest desensitization. Sure, we reach to acting out sooner or later.
Right.
When people of porn addiction reach to desensitization, acting out will be very soon. Very soon.
Wow, it's like a snowball. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger until you reach sex addiction, which is a whole different...
Another area.
It's another area that is its own stages, its own statistics, its own
definitely.
everything.
This needs another lecture
Right.
because, this is like...
Right.
We are just talking about porn, I know, but like this is another one.
The fact that that's the equation, it's scary.
It is. It is the link.
Right.
It is
and you said it starts from 11 years old. So it's so innocent.
Yeah, very innocent. And that's why people can be addictive to sex, by the age of 15 and 16.
Wow.
Yeah. Because if they started in this 11 or 12, 15 or 16, they are...
It's almost inevitable. It will happen.
Exactly.
If there's no treatment or...
there is a treatment.
No, I know, but if you don't engage in it, then inevitably you will reach that.
Yes, 100%.
Wow. So what leads me to these stages? Like how do I get to that point? So I understand once I do get to watch this stuff, okay, I will go through a various of stages. Even without me knowing what these stages are, I am automatically going through it. And eventually, God forbid, we reach something horrible. So what leads me to this? What leads me to this addiction?
There are 3 main reasons. Number 1, temptation, which is for everyone.
Right.
Right? But it can be controlled. But the other 2 are the main reasons: the boredom and the curiosity. The curiosity is created by the media, by giving you one shot, search for the rest. It's a selling point. And definitely it makes a lot of money. So it's money-oriented, business-oriented media. The curiosity. Boredom is one of the worst. And that's why people who are investing their time, usually not having it, because they don't have time.
You mean they're using their time wisely?
Wisely,
right?
Yeah, doing something, learning something, working out. Usually, very rare to find someone athletic and athletes,
right.
And they are having this issue. Usually, it's difficult because they don't have time,
right?
Because these people are working, right? So they work or study or learning whatever they learn, and they work out 1-2 hours per day, which release all the energy, give them all the pleasure. So I'm going to watch that stuff, because maybe later on we can talk about definitely you talk about the science of the brain, but we are going to touch base in it because it's something related as well,
right?
But very, very small. But you have to understand that it is related. So boredom, curiosity, and temptation. I can tell temptation can be controlled if you are good to control yourself, but curiosity sometimes cannot be controlled.
Right. And we live in a society that caters to curiosity.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And the boredom.
And the boredom too, yeah.
Yeah, you are staying home doing nothing. And you can hear that all the time.
Right.
And that's why actually the number of females starting to watch porn increased lately because of that. Staying home doing nothing. Staying home doing nothing. Because males in general can go out, especially for work stuff.
Right.
I'm not talking about certain age. We are talking about wide range. We are talking about from 11 till whatever. So males have more opportunities to go out and work and stuff. Females are not. And they figured out that some females who are actually married, and because of being bored at home, doing nothing, sometimes their spouse are out working. Sometimes their kids are already grown, and that's why they found lately that some of those females who are not young, I'm talking about over 50, watching that stuff as a matter of just have fun.
Right. It's boring.
It's boring.
I'm bored.
Yeah. Curiosity, boredom, and temptation.
Right. So you said there's a scientific explanation to what leads me to it.
Yeah. Let's explain it simply in a way that definitely you have more about that in the previous episodes. But simply, you have the thalamus and the brainstem. They regulate the pleasure and the reward activities, okay? This include eating, sexual pleasure, which definitely are important in the survival of anyone, okay? When we overuse the pleasure centers in the brain, the cells that produce dopamine specifically are overworked.
Right.
So as a defensory action, what will happen? The brain decreases the amount of dopamine available and causes shrinkage in the cells that produces the dopamine. So the only way to release dopamine is what? Watching more
Right.
to bring that kind of pleasure. And that's why people who work out, they already have this pleasurable cells working in a very good mood. So there is no need, honestly, to that.
Yeah, it's already very healthy.
Exactly.
The operation is healthy by itself.
Exactly.
I'm automatically feeling a certain type of excitement and happiness because I'm engaging in something productive. But
productive and actually related to this kind of activity like sports, athletic, any kind of athletic action, it's bringing pleasure through the release of many neurotransmitter substances in the brain, including dopamine, that makes this kind of pleasure.
So, I mean, you're saying a lot right now, and you're touching on so many things that are they're all connected and linked to each other, whether it's behavior, whether the exposure you get from a young age to people that 18 and up, like we mentioned before, like you mentioned before. So it's a lot of negatives. It's a lot of, some people may even feel like this is unavoidable. This is something that I'm going to do this and there is no way I'm going to avoid it or even be cured from it. So is this treatable?
That's the good side. Yes, it is. It is very treatable. There's like people can be treated. Just to approach them by the right way. To approach someone with porn addiction, you need to know 3 questions. What's the frequency per week? What's the duration per day? And when? Frequency per week. How many times per week? Like, let's say, 3-4 times per week. Every day. It's okay. But just to know. Number 2, what's the duration? Like each time, how many? Like 2 minutes, 5, 10, 15, 30, what's it? And when? What time specifically you watch it? Like before sleeping, at night, in the morning, noon, before studying, when? Knowing that will help to guide. Simply cut the circle by compensation. You have to have a compensative action. You can't tell someone, stop this, without telling the same person, do this. Because if I want to tell you stop this, I have to tell you what to do instead. And that's why there should be something else to be done. Always talk about what this person can have. What are you interested in? Do you like music? Do you like sports? What kind of sports? What's the hobby that you would like to
Engage in.
So that you can escape this. Because if you can't do something different, you will not be able to leave the porn.
So you have to replace it with something else that is productive and satisfies maybe your boredom and curiosity, but in a good, positive way.
Exactly. That's number 1.
Okay.
Number 2, people around you. There should be good people because, that's a good vibe.
Right.
So surround with good people. Surround the person with good people to support that, which is called the group therapy, if you know.
Right.
Support system. Last but not least, for kids, I would recommend the filters.
Like internet filters?
Internet filters. That will help a lot.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
Like if someone has something, time restrictions.
Yeah, exactly.
So internet at night.
Yes.
Right. Or specific websites, trigger words and stuff like that.
Exactly.
I like the surrounding yourself with good people.
Yeah.
And the other side of it is also not surrounding yourself with people who are maybe influencing you to watch more and more. So maybe if there's a group of friends that continuously talk about, how great this video was, or this thing that I saw in the movies. So having friends like that can also be detrimental to you trying to stop this.
Yes.
That's also the other side of surrounding yourself with good people.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that maybe are trying to live a nice spiritual good life, but they're hanging out with the crowd that doesn't support this.
Exactly.
Right. A lot to take in. And if you want to replace the bad habit, let's call it a bad habit, a very, very bad habit, with something good, what are some good options to do instead? So for example, if I want to go to someone and I ask them, what is the frequency and how much they are engaging with porn, and let's say they do it, a couple of times every week, and they usually do it at night. Let's just say the most famous example is at night sleeping, because that's when you're most alone. So you have the most privacy at that point. What can someone do instead? So can praying, just that by itself, be suitable enough to get you out of this habit as something to compensate?
Definitely God's support is highly recommended, and this is the presence of God will definitely 100% change the attitude. But if you want to do replacement, God here is not a replacement, because God is the base.
Right.
So it's not a replacement. God is the base of this. God and love is the base. If you love the person and God is in his life or her life, definitely that will help him to stop. And this is not before night, before sleeping. This is a routine. To have God as a foundation in my life, this is all day long, as long as I'm awake. So this is not a replacement, and I disagree with that kind, because some people say replace it with reading the Bible. I disagree.
Mm-hmm.
Because reading the Bible and praying should be something that I live with it all day round. I'm not saying you pray all the day. I'm not saying you read the Bible all day, but you read it several times. You remember God. God is in your mind all the day. So this is not a replacement. This is a lifestyle.
Right.
So if God is your lifestyle, that will help you to overcome that. But what's my role here is before sleeping, I should replace something else. For example, if you like soccer, watch videos about soccer.
Mm-hmm.
If you like basketball, watch videos about basketball, baseball, football, boxing, chess, running.
Mm-hmm.
If you are not into sports, it's fine. Watch something to laugh. Comedy show. The small video clips about like pranking and stuff like that.
Right.
Why? Because when you laugh, your brain is relaxed.
Right.
Right? Watch stories. Some people love stories. To saint stories.
Right.
You can read
Mm-hmm.
instead of watch. Read. I'm not saying now about the Bible. I'm just read.
No.
Read something that makes your mind relaxed. Read quotes
Right.
from big authors if you like reading. Stuff like that. So
that's engage your brain as well.
In something different.
But something different.
Something different. But when you talk about God or praying, this is a lifestyle.
Right.
If you want to stop this behavior, definitely God is the main core. He's the main foundation.
Very nice. You're speaking to probably a lot of the things that you're talking about, Abouna, and the things that we're talking about here. It's probably speaking to so many people that probably feel like there's no hope.
Exactly. A lot of people see that there is no hope for porn addiction, but it is.
Right.
It is. The only thing is just you need to know, the one who is having this issue, to say, I have a problem, I want to stop it. If you don't say I have a problem, you will never stop it.
Right.
So say first, I have a problem. Once you said I have a problem, introduce God in your life and talk to someone who can help you.
Right. Right. And a nice way to see if you have a problem or not is probably go back on what we talked about today, the signs of addiction, review ourselves, and have a self-diagnosis. Are these signs with me? Or maybe evaluate the stages. Did I go through these stages? And maybe that will lead someone who maybe doesn't know or has a feeling, maybe I am addicted to this.
Yeah.
To come up with a nice conclusion and say, oh, yeah, I do have a problem. Or maybe I don't have a problem yet, but I should stop because I'm starting to.
Exactly.
So it could be both ways. Or maybe I'm really far gone. I really need...
Yeah. Reviewing the stages will help a lot.
Right.
And at any stage, you can stop. That's the good sign.
Yeah, amen.
Any stage.
Amen.
With God's interference, you can stop at any point.
At the earliest or the worst case scenario.
Whatever.
Right, there's hope for all.
Hope for everyone. As long as God is there, you have the will, that's it.
Ameen, ya Abouna. Ameen. Is there anything else you would like to share? Is there anything else you'd want to discuss or hit? Any points like that?
No, I think we covered most of the points for this.
Abouna, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Anytime.
This was really a very enlightening, a very enjoyable conversation, and also I'm sure that a lot of people will appreciate your insights, the things that you gave, the specific, how you got so specific in the stages of pornography, in the signs, in the statistics, which are actually overwhelming more than hopeful. But we need to hear this stuff. We need to understand it's not just the drugs that are bad or the alcohol or the gambling. It could be something as easily and as accessible as right in your laptop screen at home or your phone or anything. And it's also it's also that we, very nice that you touched on how it's all around us.
Yes.
Society sells this all the time for product, for movies and shows.
Everywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Abouna.
You are very welcome. Always my pleasure being with you.
Yeah, we'd love to have you again and again and again, talking about different things. And
I am at your service anytime. Whenever you ask me for something, I will definitely
Thank you,
be
Abouna.
there for you.
Well, everyone, this concludes our episode tonight. If you like the episode or you think it was beneficial, please don't forget to hit the like button. Subscribe if you are new around here, or if you haven't yet. Why haven't you subscribed yet? We are trying to reach our first 50 subscribers. Did he say 50,000? No, I just said 50 subscribers. Make sure to share our episodes on SoundCloud. You never know who needs to hear this message. And I hope everyone who he needs it or doesn't need it hears it and passes it forward. Also, check out all our social media platforms and website. Our website is officially up. We're good to go. All the links will be left in the description below, or up, or to left, or to right. We're reminding you that this podcast is brought to you by Pagori Productions. Check out their link down in the description, or up, or down, or left, or right, for various content. And as always, we remind you that the ultimate way to freedom is to seek God, because He promised us, when we cry, He heals. Thank you again, Abouna.
My pleasure, anytime.
Bye, everybody.
You're very